Who were you when you took your first breath? Can you guess who you'll be when you take your final breath? My guest today will share what she's learned helping people die. When I think about death, my first thought is how we can never be ready for it. I think about how in my 30s, the visible signs of my parents' aging became more and more evident. I think about how I try to avoid the subject whenever it pops into my head. My friend Erica is joining me today. She's a death doula, someone who helps people die with intention, with grace. Today I'm asking her what she's learned about how to pass in peace to the other side. I'm Bao Vo, and I'm an artist.
I'm Erica Lim, and I'm a death doula.
And this is Mind Over Matcha, where I and my guests share our everyday epiphanies. Tiny droplets of wisdom that could change the way you see the world. Take what you need and let go of the rest. I think I need to take a breath.
Yeah.
Let's do... What are these?
Preserved lemon.
Preserved lemon.
Nice way to wake up the senses.
It's sour and salty and sweet and citrusy. So Erica, I don't know if that many people know what death doulas do. Do you think you can give us a primer?
Yeah. A death doula, we walk with people at end of life, and not necessarily just at end of life. It could be in preparation of, in contemplation of, in fear of, in curiosity of. And so I always say there's no wrong time to reach out, because death is the most natural part of life. It happens and it comes into our thoughts, and we find fears around them, or we find unknowns. And so I'm a place to be able to talk and feel through that, what death wants to teach us.
So when you say that you're with people during that period, what do you actually handle for them?
So it can range, and it all comes from the person I'm working with, typically the person dying. So I sit and listen, and I try to understand what it is that they want for this time in their life, and then we go from there. And sometimes it's practical matters around an advanced care directive, a will, how to offer their possession. Sometimes it's just exploring meaning of their life, exploring meaning of their death and what the afterlife looks like.
Wow.
Perhaps it's how to take care of their family after they go, or take care of their family now. Perhaps it's just exploring what loss is, whether a loss of mobility, a loss of eating, a loss of being able to be in companionship to their relatives like they used to. So there's just a lot at that time, and I look to them to lead.
Wow.
I think oftentimes it can become a very fearful place because of a lot of unknowns, a lot of death denial in our culture.
Hey, I know that one.
Yeah, a lot of saving culture in our medical system, right? Like death being a failure versus death being a natural human experience. So death doulas are bringing back the humanity into death. Death doulas are bringing death as a teacher to us, just as birth is, just as life is, just as any transition.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the experience obviously is different for the family members versus the person who's actually dying, because when I think about it, I'm like, if someone we love is dying, I feel like we think about it from our perspective and what we want for them, and it's kind of this selfish or this more self-centered view of the other person's death. Whereas the other person probably has their own goals and intentions and how they want to feel when they finally pass.
Yeah. I think when caregivers or family members or children come, they have an idea of what needs to happen, or They become very determined on what needs to happen because they're scared of the unknown or the organic to happen. A lot of times our elders would get older, and what happens is the roles switch, where the children feel like they need to make every decision, and they don't allow their elder, their parent, to make their own decisions anymore. And so that role switch happens so drastically. And I like to tell family members, like, meet them where they are, right? Meet their person where they are, whether it's in their fears of inevitable loss, if it's in their beginnings of lack of independence. It's like still allow them that independence and autonomy over the season in their life. And when you can build that trust that your loved one will be able to share with you, you know, the fears or the inability to do things or to be able to ask for help, when you build that trust together, it really makes a huge difference on the rest of the season of that person's life.
So it sounds like that's the most important thing, to honor that person and let them do it their way.
Let them lead. Yeah.
So the way that I kind of set up our conversation is that I feel like we don't know what we're going to want until we get there. And as a family member, maybe you have this snapshot of what this person wanted a year ago when they were starting to get sick or whatever. But like in the moment, have you seen people change to like actually just want something a lot more simple, or, you know, something else totally than what they told their families they wanted?
Yeah. A lot of times what happens, if this was a gradual dying process, let's say there's like a illness, let's say it's age, there's a withdrawal that starts to happen. Maybe there's like months, weeks left. A withdrawal from media, withdrawal from the world, the withdrawal from maybe people, they used to be very sociable and now they kind of want to they become more inward.
Wow.
A lot of the times. Not all the time, but what does happen is that oftentimes you'll find a withdrawal happening because, one, there's less actual physical energy, but two, there's like an internal reflection process starting to happen where it's not so important what's happening in daily life or the world, and more of like what has my life been? How can I, you know, kind of let go of the attachments that I might have in this life, because I know that my time is finite, right? And so a lot of change happens as the person's attachments start to fade because they can no longer do a lot of the things they used to when they lived. Yeah, and so in those changes, in those experiences of loss, a lot of preferences start to show up that are very different from who they were before.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you feel around like death, dying? What comes up for you?
I try to maintain composure about it, but it still freaks me out a lot. In life, when things end, I feel pretty equipped to deal with it. But then I think about like, man, my mom's aging, and in the last few years, like, the mortality is there, like way more visible than it has ever been. For myself too, right? Not just for her, but it's just a reminder. And the way I feel about it now is like, okay, I can like try to brace myself with everything I've learned so far. But like, I have no idea what to do when I finally get there. And there's no point in like fretting about it now, because like it's something
Get
you can
where?
only, when I get to the few months where I have to deal with that reality, like I have no idea what's gonna happen. Because there's no like hard beginnings and ends to anything, right? It's all this process that flows into each other. Like, when do I call Erica? You know, like now.
Yeah, the question I would ask you now is the same thing I would ask you if you brought me in, with a 3 to 6 month prognosis, right? It's like, what do you want to do with this time that you have, right? Let's say death comes at any time. Working in this work, it's like I recognize the preciousness of life, right? And I've seen people die that's our age, and their best friends there just can't, in complete disbelief that someone can pass so young and so joyful and so full of life, right? And so like death doesn't really abide by those rules. And so in a way, it's like death is the teacher of the preciousness of life. It's the yin and the yang. It's the like, without death, you don't understand how beautiful life is. And so with these impending thoughts about your mom, you don't have to go so far into the future. You can think about it now of if she were to pass in 1 month, in 3 weeks, in 2 weeks, what would you want to do at the time that you have right now? Because she is mobile, because she has so much life in her at this moment. So what do you want to do at this time?
That's so crazy.
Like this is the time you have is right now.
It just sounds so simple, and yet it feels so profound. You know?
I think we always see death as this thing on a bedside somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Or like dying in illness, but it's not necessarily the truth. Death is just an ending that can happen at any time. And so this moment, it only gives more focus and more illumination to this very moment of being with you here, of being with these families in this park, sharing time together, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a practice I do every day where whenever I leave someone or whenever I spend time and then leave, I always look at them and be like, oh, this might be the last time I ever see you. And feel what feelings come up from there, right?
What do you do with those feelings?
I observe them. I allow them to be. A lot of times it's sweetness, Bao. Like what shows up is real sweetness. Maybe some sadness too. When I look at my mom, I had that moment of sadness, but also like, wow, it's so rich. It's so rich, the sweetness. And so you observe it and you allow yourself to see what that attachment looks like. And you appreciate that that's there.
Damn. Thank you, Erica. We tried really hard to arrange this meeting in a peaceful Japanese garden over multiple days. And the forces were just like, no, I don't think that's right. I think you need to be out here on this busy corner with all these families and cars. And I feel like this has been the perfect meeting, with all the folks walking by, all the massive groups of children reminding us that no matter how we want to control how things go, the universe has its own way of working, and it's actually more rewarding, more fun, more real to flow with the universe rather than being like, oh man, the loud car guy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Jump into the flow of life and death, you know? Like it has its own natural way of being, or it has a natural way of moving. And if you flow with it, there's less resistance. You feel lighter, you can move. And it's the same thing as at the end of life, or even in this moment. It's like you flow with whatever is present. And if you do push so much resistance, it becomes harder. Everything becomes harder.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed this Everyday Epiphany from Erica, please share it with somebody that you care about. You can also leave us a comment to let us know your thoughts or ask questions of either me or Erica.
Yeah.
And I'm writing a book called Baoisms, Everyday Epiphanies of a Mindful Artist. And you can pre-order the book on baovomusic.com and support any of my other projects there too. And Erica, it's been so precious and valuable and like profound to sit on this corner with all of these distractions and really beautiful human moments with you. So I thank you so much.
Thanks, Bao.
Thank you everyone for joining Erica and me for Mind Over Matcha. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.